Hello everyone, Helen here. How are you doing today? I hope you're okay. I'm fine. The sun is shining and all's well with my little world here anyway. Might not be all right out there, but yeah, just forget about that for the moment and just, you can spend a bit of time with me. So what am I going to chat about today? Well, I am going to chat a bit about being creative. And I've got a couple of finished knitting projects to show you, and I'm going to update you on my quilt, my hand-sewn quilt project. And I'm going to play the piano for you a bit later as well, have a bit of a chat about that. But just before I get properly started, I just want to say a welcome to a few new viewers who've joined recently. And I thought I'd better just say a little bit about myself, because I don't say it every week, and in case you're new, you might be wondering, where I am and things. So I live in Durham in the northeast of England, and I was a primary school teacher, but now I work part-time from home, and I just teach the piano. I've quite a few pupils and I thoroughly enjoy it, and so that's what I do. And the rest of the time, I am in this craft room quite a lot, doing all kinds of crafts. And when I'm not in here, I might be off in the camper van or just going and visiting interesting places, and I love to share that with you as well. So, and I've been making videos to put onto YouTube for over 4 years now. So if you're new, there's quite a lot that you can catch up on if you would like to. Anyway, welcome to everybody. Thank you. If anybody at all who's made a comment, if you're new and you've introduced yourself and told where you're from, but anybody, even if you just make an occasional comment or no comment at all and just give me a like. Well, there's that new thing that YouTube does, which is a hype button, which maybe affected my last crafty chat. I don't know, because I seem to have an awful lot of extra views. So thank you if you press that hype thing. It's fine. I do it for other people's videos, and nothing bad happens. So yeah, hype me if you would like to. And so I think that's it. So I'm going to get on now with chatting first of all about this very interesting subject of creativity and being creative. And I've chatted about it a few times before, and just different aspects of it. And I'm not going to try and address the whole big subject, because it's a very, very big subject, creativity. But I was just, my thoughts were definitely provoked very recently when I was listening to one of my favourite podcasts, which I've mentioned lots of times before. If you're a regular here, you'll have heard me mention Haptic and Hue, which is a podcast that generally runs on the theme of textiles, although there's a very, very wide range of topics that they talk about, going back to prehistory and history and the current day and future, and all sorts of things. It's a very, very interesting, thought-provoking podcast. Anyway, this particular one was talking about somebody's research project, a lady who lives in the Netherlands called Monica Auch. I think she's actually German, but she did her training to be a medical doctor in the Netherlands, and she lives there now. But she's also a weaver, so she was very interested in this idea of creativity, and she was particularly interested in how the brain connects with the hands when you're busy creating something. So she set up this project where, for anybody who was volunteering to take part in it, she sent out a pack containing a piece of fabric with a printed outline of a cross-section of the brain on it, and then a load of coloured wools and a yarn needle. And so she sent those out without any instructions other than, when you've finished creating your brain, please send me a photo of it. And the results were just amazing. I'm not sure that I'm allowed to show you photos from that on my podcast, but I'll leave a link in the description box if you want to go and see them. And I think the project is called Stitch Your Brain, so you can probably even just search that and find loads of photos of the different finished projects that people have. But the thing that interested me most about that, apart from seeing the variety of work that was done, was just the conclusions that the researcher Monica came to about about that creative process. And one of the very interesting things was that the people who got this pack and got the picture and had it in front of them, quite a lot of them said they put it there and they had no idea of what they were going to do. They just had these different coloured yarns and, threaded them. And a few of them said that their hands just took the lead. Their hands just decided to do something. And so that really struck me, because I think that same thing happens to me. So one example that I'll give you is that when I've been stitching my squares for the quilt, the Cantha squares, where I've had a template of a hare and I've stitched the hare, but there's no idea of what to do in the background, then really without me going off and looking for ideas or sketching anything out, I've just really let my hands take the lead, and I've ended up with little landscapes behind the hares that I've been really happy with. That thing is definitely going on, that connection between the brain and the hands. And the same kind of thing happens to me when I sit down at the piano to compose a bit of music. I might sit there and I haven't had a particular melody in my head, but I kind of have a feeling that I want to make a bit of music, a particular, I've had a particular inspiration or whatever. And so quite often I put my hands on the keys and start to play, and very soon, usually, a melody emerges or some little thing happening in the left hand, and I really can't explain where that comes from. It almost feels like a magical process. And so one of the things that Monica Auch said in her research project, in her conclusions, was that there does seem to be some kind of conversation going on between the brain and the hands when you sit down to create something. And I'm sure that that definitely happens to me, and maybe it's happened to you as well. You'll have to tell me. It's an intriguing thing. And maybe all the experiences that our hands have had over the years, and our other senses too, that are stored in our brain, are somehow released when we're about to do something creative. If we want to express ourselves through something that we do with our hands, it's worth considering that we actually don't need to overthink things, but just let our brain and hands get on with it. I love the quote, "Creativity is magic, don't examine it too closely," apparently said by somebody called Edward Albert. And that's so relevant to what I've just been chatting about today. Creativity is magic, don't examine it too closely. So I just want to finish this little bit of philosophizing by sharing again some excellent tips that the artist Grayson Perry gave for getting started in art, but I think these can be applied more widely to any kind of creative pursuit, from sewing to composing music and to much more. And so the first tip was know yourself, own your feelings and use them. Secondly, nobody is original, so don't even try, and don't feel embarrassed about borrowing. Thirdly, don't cling to the idea of being right. Be vulnerable and open to creative processes. Fourthly, put the hours in. And finally, play. Play seriously. Insignificant doodles might turn into great ideas. So I hope I have given you a little bit of food for thought for that today, and you might even want to go and listen to that particular podcast. You know, if you like that kind of thing, it is really, really interesting. So next, on to my finished projects. So I've got 2 finished knitting projects, and I'm just going to update you on my quilt. So the first finished knitted item is not really very interesting. It's just a pair of socks, but they're finished. I started these months ago. Honestly, I have not been in a sock knitting mood this year. The yarn is, yes, West Yorkshire Spinners, just a plain pattern. It's a one I know off by heart, and yeah, I like it when the yarn is just very pretty, and well, it is lovely. I do like knitting them. I just haven't really been in a mood for. I've been doing loads of other things, haven't I? So anyway, so that's the socks, and then the other finished project is the knitted sleeveless cardigan that I showed you the start of last time. I'm not wearing it, and I haven't got a photo of me wearing it because it's actually blocking at the moment and it's still a bit damp. It was just too damp to put on to show you, but I've taken some photos of it to show you. So it's a pattern by West Yorkshire Spinners, and the design is called Celine, and I bought the pattern and the wool at my newly found local yarn shop in Durham, A Wing and a Bear. And so there was one in the shop. There's one of these sleeveless cardigans in the shop already made up, and so I just loved it, and I knew I wanted to make that. So what can I say about it? Well, the yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners, and it is called Recreate Twist. It's a chunky weight, although it doesn't really feel too thick to use. I generally don't like using thick yarns, but this was fine. It was very nice to knit with. The pattern said to use 6.5mm needles for most of it, and I didn't have 6.5 in anything, so I used 6mm, and I confidently used those because I did knit the swatch and to test my gauge, and it was spot on, so that was fine. I think I told you last time that I had a problem understanding how the pockets worked, but I did suddenly have a light bulb moment and realised how it all worked. So it isn't complicated. If you're thinking that you might want to make this, it isn't complicated, but I don't think the way the pattern is written explains clearly to people who are not experienced at knitting garments with pockets in. So I would just, you know, if I was asked for feedback on the pattern, that's what I would say. Please, can you just explain it for we people who don't really know what's going on. I love the collar. I think that looks really nice. The pattern showed big round buttons that the loops go over, but actually when I was in the shop, in the yarn shop, Wing and a Bear, the one in there had wooden toggles on, and I liked the look of that. So I bought some toggles and put them on, and I'm really, really pleased with them. So once it's dry, I will take a photo or two of me wearing it, and then you can see what it actually looks like. But I am very pleased with it. So update on my quilt now. Well, I have done, in case you don't know, I am making a completely hand-sewn quilt, and I'm doing, some of my squares are 9 patches, which I am hand piecing, and the other squares are embroidered, and some of them are the Cantha style hairs, which I've already talked about today, and some of them are little embroidered mouse pictures, one for each month of the year. And so since I last chatted to you, I've only done one more 9 patch, this one here. I now just have 4 more of these squares to make. So when I first started, before I just cut myself out a big pile of squares, 3.5-inch squares, I think they are 3-inch squares I cut out, and I'm using a 2.5-inch template. So yeah, so each of these squares will be 2.5 inches eventually. And so yeah, so I cut a big pile, but then now I've only got 4 more 9 patches to do. Is that what they're called? 9 patches to do. So I decided I didn't want to just randomly cut a whole load more. I was almost out of squares, so I cut just enough for the last 4, and so now they're sitting in little piles of 9 like this, ready for me to do the last 4. So that's good. And the embroidered mice, which are templates that I bought from Jilly Makes on Etsy. I've done 2 more of those. I've done the one for this one here, February, and I decided to use that famous quote by William Wordsworth, "My heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils." Thought that was appropriate for the 2 little mice in love. And in the template there weren't any daffodils. I just added this, and I'm not sure they look exactly like daffodils, but I know what they're meant to be, so that's all that matters. And the big heart in the middle, I decided to fill that in with chain stitch, so it's just lots of rows of chain stitch all next to each other. And as I'm going along doing these, I'm kind of experimenting with the colours, for example, that I do the words. So sometimes I've used just the same colour thread throughout, and then this one I was seeing what it would be like with different colours for the different words. And yeah, so I quite like that. It just seems appropriate for the picture. And then I've done the March one here, and just you can see I've just used one colour for the words there. Come gentle spring, ethereal mildness come. I like that word, ethereal, really nice. And I did a sort of ethereal colour and colour theme for this one mainly. And yes, and somebody did ask me actually which stitch I was using for writing the words. I'm using chain stitch, and I'm just doing that because that's what I've seen my mum use before when she's sewn words. It looks really nice, it stands out nicely. So that's March, and then I am just busy doing April, but I shall show you that. I haven't photographed it yet, and I'll show you that properly next time I'm talking about my projects. So that's projects done with. So now I'm going to just finish off with a bit of piano. So I started doing a lot of composing of piano pieces this year, and that was mainly so that I had some music to go with little videos that I make for YouTube. And when I do that, I write them and I practice them, and then eventually I record them. I record them digitally, so my digital piano has a facility for recording things onto a memory stick, and so you get very good sound quality with that. But I thought that maybe, just for a change, you might like to just see me playing the piano. And so the sound quality for these pieces that I'm going to play for you isn't as good as you usually get on the videos, because it was relying on the microphone on my phone that I was using to video. So occasionally the sounds are a little bit distorted, but hopefully not so much that it's going to spoil your enjoyment of them. So I'm going to show you me playing 3 pieces, and by the way, there's no fancy camera work here. I just stuck my phone on a tripod in a position that I thought you could see me, and my hands a bit. So so hopefully that's okay. And also I realised when I was watching the videos back, first of all, I do look rather serious when I'm playing, but I think I'm just concentrating. So I am enjoying myself, even if it looks like I'm not. And And the other thing, of course, I didn't really think about what was in the background. So in case you're wondering, you can, in the videos, you can see an upturned plastic basket behind me. And that's there because a couple of my piano lessons that I teach are online. And that's where I put my iPad when I'm doing the lessons. And yeah, there's various other things around. Oh yes, on the windowsill behind that, there's a whole row of soft toys, and they are there because I use those for piano teaching. There's the different animals help the children, beginners, to learn different techniques with their hands. So that's why they're there. Plus there's a random gnome sitting there with them. I don't know why that's there. And you also might, just if you're really looking around and wondering what everything is, you might see a white plastic thing on the chest of drawers beside the piano. And rather strangely, it's an egg slicer. Yeah. And the reason it's there is that, I don't know, I think before I was putting it away the last time I used it, I was plucking the metal bits here that slice the egg and thinking, oh, yeah, they kind of play different notes. They all play different notes. And so my son said, oh, I challenge you to write a piece of music with the notes of the egg slicer. So always up for a challenge. I have written a piece. I'm not going to play it to you yet because it's not ready. But yeah, so that's why that's there. Strange. And the mouse that's sitting on top of the piano, that was a lovely gift from one of you lovely viewers, Sue. I really love that mouse sitting on top of my piano. Right, so I think that's enough about that. But I'll just tell you just quickly about the pieces that I'm going to play for you. The first one is one that you might have heard before if you watched a couple of weeks ago, and I made a video about seabirds and the waves, and I was inspired by them to write a piece of music. So I'm just playing that for you again. And the second piece is, well, that's a bit of a fun piece. So there is a story behind that one. I was sitting playing the piano one day, and something caught my eye up on the ceiling, and I saw that there was a spider up there, just on a short strand of silk. And so I just carried on playing, and the next time I looked up, he'd come down a bit lower, and he wasn't over my head, otherwise I think I might have moved away. But he was directly over the top of the piano. And so, oh, okay then. And I kept playing. I was just coming lower and lower, and eventually he did sit on top of the piano. And straight away I thought, right, I'm going to write a little piece of music for this spider. So when you see the video of me playing it, I'm explaining the different parts of the music that I wrote for the spider. I'm not afraid of spiders, by the way, but if you are, don't worry, I didn't take a photograph of it, so you haven't got to look at a photo of the spider. And then I'm going to finish off with just a very gentle lyrical piece that I wrote. I wrote and dedicated it to our campervan, who is called Pearl, and to our campervan companion, who's also called Pearl, who I crocheted. And yeah, so I've called that one Pearl's Delight. So I hope you are going to enjoy watching and listening to these piano pieces. So one of the things on my YouTube to-do list is to actually put together some collections of me playing my pieces. Well, probably not seeing me, but with the digital recordings with some various bits of video over the top, which will be inconsequential probably to what the pieces are. But just something that you can just listen to, basically. That's what I'm thinking of. So it is in my plan when I have a spare moment. So I know a few of you have asked and said you would really like that, which is lovely. You are so encouraging to me. Earlier this year, I was very apologetic about anything that I'd composed because I didn't feel like a proper composer. And you have been so encouraging. Thank you ever so much. Anybody who's mentioned that you've enjoyed the music. But also talking about moments to spare, I'm going to just tell you now that I've decided I'm not going to do Vlogmas this year. I'm sorry. I know that you'll be disappointed. Some of you will be very disappointed about that, but there's various other things happening and I just don't want to get overstressed during December. So I'm not going to do it this year. I had grand plans. I've got a notebook full of all of my ideas for what I was going to do. So they will stay there and I'm sure I'll do them at some point. But yeah, so I'm going to take it a bit easier in December. I'm not sure if I'm going to pop up very often or, or at all. So the best way to make sure you don't miss anything, if I just do surprise you and pop up, is to make sure that you are subscribed. It doesn't cost anything, by the way, just in case you're not sure about that. And if you make sure that the little bell you tap is like a solid colour, then that means you'll be notified of any videos of mine that pop up, so you won't have to miss them. So anyway, that's where I'm going to end for today, and I do hope that you keep yourself nice and busy and take great care of yourself, and I'll be back ever so soon to chat to you. Okay then, bye.